بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نرحب بالسادة المشاركين في بلدكم الثانية قطر، ونتمنى لكم جلسة حوار شيقة إن شاء الله. لقد غيرت الثورة الرقمية التي ما زلنا نختبرها حتى يومنا الحالي بشكل جذري النمط التقليدي المتمثل في تطوير التشريعات والسياسات، وحتى مجرد العمل ضمن القطاع المالي، كما أتاحت أيضا فرصا لا حصر لها للنمو والتنمية، إلا أنها زادت أيضا للأسف مجالات المخاطرة. سنركز خلال حلقة النقاش هذه بشكل خاص على تجربة البنوك المركزية في سياق العالم الرقمي، وهو ما يشمل القواعد والتشريعات والسياسات والإجراءات والإشراف والتنظيم من بين مجالات أخرى. ينضم إلينا في هذه المجموعة عدد من الخبراء الذين يحملون خبرات عميقة حول القطاعين المالي والمصرفي في سياق العالم الرقمي، حيث سيتكرمون بمشاركتنا اليوم برؤيتهم وتجاربهم الشخصية معنا. نرحب مرة أخرى بالمشاركين: الدكتور قيس بن عيسى، نائب الرئيس التنفيذي لمصرف البنك المركزي العماني; السيد أنور بدر الغيث، المدير التنفيذي لقطاع تنمية المعلومات في بنك الكويت المركزي; وداتو دي اس الدكتور حاجي أمير الدين عبد الوهاب، المدير التنفيذي لوكالة سايبر سيكيورتي ماليزيا; والسيد نظام إسماعيل، شريك ورئيس التدريب على الخدمات المالية بشركة RH لا تايلور ويسنج في سنغافورة. شكرا لمشاركتكم وشكرا لانضمامكم معنا. سنبدأ إن شاء الله مع الدكتور قيس، وسيعرض لنا عرض بتجربتهم مع العالم الرقمي في البنك المركزي العماني. فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلق أجمعين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه إلى يوم الدين. الأخوة الكرام والأخوات الأفاضل، بداية السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. وبداية أود أن أتقدم، اسمحوا لي أن أتقدم بالشكر الجزيل نيابة عن نفسي وبالأصالة عن نفسي ونيابة عن البنك المركزي العماني لمركز قطر للمال على دعوتهم الكريمة، وكذلك الشكر الموصول للأخوة بيت المشورة الاستشارات المالية على حسن التنظيم وحفاوة الاستقبال. اسمحوا لي الآن أن ألقي لسبب معين ألقي كلمتي باللغة الإنجليزية. Esteemed guests, it is my great honor to participate in the remarkable event on behalf of the Central Bank of Oman. I would like at the outset to thank Qatar Financial Center for organizing this timely event on an important subject. Digital transformation provides countless opportunities as well as challenges in the banking sector. Moreover, it is heartening to note the increasing collaboration between financial institutions and other stakeholders such as Qatar Financial Center on driving digital transformation in the banking sector. It is undeniable fact that digitization has transformed our society, affecting each one of us in some way or another. Nonetheless, as digitization is progressing at a fast pace, it is important for us to be well prepared to harness its full potential and also to minimize its pitfalls. Digital transformation entails transformation and improvement of business activities and processes by leveraging the use of digital technologies. Although digital transformation is generally associated with business, it is noteworthy to mention that in Oman, at least government public enterprises were also in the forefront of adopting digital transformation. Banks and financial institutions have always aspired to make use of technologies to improve business processes and productivities. Given their important role in the economy and the expectation of tech-savvy customers, banks cannot afford anything less than state-of-the-art technology. Of late, worldwide banks are facing tough competition from non-traditional players such as fintech firms, which primarily depend on cutting-edge technology to deliver financial services to customers. Although banks enjoy a competitive edge over such new entrants, as they have long valued relationship with customers, they shouldn't be complacent with customers becoming digital savvy and very demanding. Nowadays, consumers prefer a more flexible and convenient banking experience, including digital platforms such as internet banking and mobile banking. Besides customers' heightened expectation, shrinking revenue margins and increased competition are the new realities faced by banks. Hence, rising to the occasion and being proactive, banking sector is adopting digital technology at a large scale, which is changing the landscape of banking and financial services. A significant outcome of digital transformation in the banking sector has been greater financial inclusion, increase of e-payment in government and private sector. Also, due to the outreach of digital banking, banks are now able to fulfill the needs of individuals previously deprived of such services. Blockchain is among the latest additions to digital transformation. However, the applicability of this promising technology in day-to-day banking services is being studied by the industry. Despite abundant opportunities offered by digital transformation, it brings certain disadvantages and challenges for banks. For example, banks depended on their branches for interaction with their customers for the longest time. But now they have to explore other ways on how that physical experience can be integrated into the digital transformation process. Another major challenge with digital transformation is increased need to cope with financial fraud. We often hear about incidents or fraudulent transfers online by fraudsters exploiting the digital loopholes. It is a serious challenge for banks, and they should put a robust system in place for ensuring cybersecurity to circumvent such frauds. The banks must remain up to date in the field of cybersecurity, as fraudsters often invent new ways for online frauds. Equally important, banks should continue to impart on awareness campaign for their clients on cybersecurity and adopting good practices to avoid digital frauds. Digital transformation also poses serious challenge for regulatory and supervisory framework, given the scale of innovation, operability, and transmission of contagions. The Central Bank of Oman has been at the forefront of leading digital transformation in order to improve efficiency in the banking sector, and at the same time ensuring the systems are secure for customers as well as for banks and other stakeholders in the Sultanate. The regulatory and supervisory practices have been strengthened so that new risks emanating from digital transformation are addressed and financial systems continue to support growth without undermining financial stability. It is worthwhile to mention that the Central Bank of Oman continues to emphasize on banks to be vigilant of the associated risk while offering digital products and services, in addition to keep educating their clients of such risks. The innovative and secure payment systems have been implemented, thereby unfolding a new era of more efficient and smart payment services. The core national payment system, which include the RTGS, ACH, Oman Net Switch, amongst other systems, continue to exhibit growth in terms of value and volumes. Allow me now to share with you some statistics pertaining to banking transaction where digital technology is involved. The conventional commercial banks are operating with 1,288 ATMs, while Islamic banks have around 79 ATMs. The number of real-time gross settlement transactions increased by about 60% over the past 5 years, while the number of transactions in the automated clearinghouse system for retail payments jumped by a massive 156% during the same period. Similarly, the number of transactions under Oman Net Switch grew more than fourfold over the last 5 years. The business volume under electronic check clearing also jumped by about 44% during this period. The Central Bank of Oman is currently also in the process of transforming mobile payment in the country as an alternate platform for affordable, safe, and convenient peer-to-peer and peer-to-business payments, with unified switching and clearing services between various mobile banking wallets operated by banks. On the other hand, the regulatory and supervisory responsibility of the Central Bank of Oman have also been fortified due to the issuance of National Payment System Law by a royal decree last year. This law empowers the Central Bank of Oman to deal with the new challenges with respect to payment systems in the country. The law will not only set rules for payment service providers and establish the legality of the Central Bank of Oman to oversee such entities, but it will also pave the way for more innovative payment services and products. FinTech Wave offers abundant opportunity for financial deepening in the Sultanate, but concurrently it poses regulatory and supervisory challenge for the Central Bank of Oman. Hence, the Central Bank of Oman established a FinTech committee or a task force to study, recommend, and oversee the establishment and development of FinTech sector in Oman. The committee would examine all issues holistically, including the drivers underpinning emerging technologies innovation, and recommend policy measures so that FinTech flourishes and contribute to growth in the economy without creating any systemic risk. I would like to conclude with few observations. The technological revolution the world is experiencing now has altered our societies and the way we work. I see many opportunities in terms of digital transformation in the banking sector. However, any major change we embark upon necessitates a lot of work or a lot of careful thinking. To conclude once again, I would like to thank Qatar Financial Center for organizing this timely event. I am sure that deliberation among the key stakeholders during the course of this event would pave the way for new frontiers in the banking sector, contributing to overall efficiency gains and customer satisfaction. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
شكرا الدكتور قيس. سنرجع إلى الدكتور قيس بعد بعض العروض التفصيلية ببعض الأسئلة عن تجاربه أيضا مع البنك المركزي العماني. الآن ننتقل إلى السيد أنور بدر الغيث، المدير التنفيذي لقطاع تقنية المعلومات والأعمال المصرفية لبنك الكويت المركزي، فليتفضل بعرضه التفصيلي حيث سيتطرق إلى بعض التجارب لبنك الكويت المركزي في قطاع التكنولوجيا المالية.
بسم الله، الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. في السابق كانت البنوك المركزية والمؤسسات المالية قبل ظهور التقنيات المالية الحديثة تركز على 3 أنواع من المخاطر، اللي هي مخاطر السوق ومخاطر السيولة ومخاطر الائتمان. وبعد ظهور التقنيات المالية الحديثة وبالتحديد اللي هي تقنيات البلوك تشين والذكاء الاصطناعي وأيضا قواعد البيانات العريضة اللي هي ما يسمى وما يطلق عليها البيج داتا، أصبحت البنوك المركزية والمؤسسات المالية معرضة لأنواع جديدة من نماذج الأعمال ومخاطر أخرى. وبالتالي استحدثت عندنا اليوم نماذج جديدة من المخاطر أصبحت تسمى مخاطر التسويات وأيضا مخاطر الالتزام ومخاطر تقنية المعلومات. المقصود بمخاطر التسويات، في السابق كان البنك المركزي مع المؤسسات المالية يعتبر هو الضامن لأي عملية مدفوعات فيما بين المؤسسات المالية، بحكم أن الأرصدة المالية وأيضا الأصول الموجودة عند المؤسسات المالية تحتفظ بجزء منها عند المؤسسات المركزية أو الجهات الرقابية. لكن مع ظهور اللاعبين الجدد اللي هي المؤسسات ذات التقنيات المالية الحديثة وأصبحت تشارك في المنظومة المصرفية، وبالتالي عدم وجود الأرصدة المالية هذه لدى البنوك المركزية، وبالتالي أصبح القطاع المصرفي أو نظام المدفوعات معرض لمخاطر خاصة أو تنشأ نتيجة عدم الالتزام بتسويات وعدم وجود ضامن لسداد هذه المدفوعات. وبالتالي في حالة فشل أي من المؤسسات المالية هذه في سداد أي مدفوعات سيعرض القطاع المصرفي والقطاع المالي لمخاطر جسيمة، وبالتالي تهدد من استقرار وسلامة الأنظمة المصرفية والمالية. المخاطر أو النوع الثاني مخاطر الالتزام. أيضا في السابق كانت البنوك المركزية عندها وحدات مالية لها كيانات محددة داخل الدول، لكن مع ظهور التقنيات المالية اللي تستخدم الذكاء الاصطناعي وأيضا تستخدم الحوسبة السحابية وأيضا تستخدم الفضاء الإلكتروني، وبالتالي أساليب الرقابة والإشراف اللي كانت موجودة في السابق ما عادت نافعة لهذه التقنيات، وبالتالي يتوجب على البنوك المركزية استحداث أساليب جديدة للتعامل مع هذه التقنيات المالية. النوع الأخير من المخاطر اللي هي مخاطر تقنية المعلومات، وهي بسبب استخدام التقنيات الجديدة في عملية تقديم الخدمات وتقديم المنتجات، وبالتالي زيادة حالات هجمات الأمن السيبراني وأيضا هجمات الخاصة في أمن المعلومات وإفشاء المعلومات. في ظل هذه المخاطر أعتقد البنوك المركزية بدأت تواجه تحديات، وراح أتكلم عن تجربتنا في بنك الكويت المركزي. عندنا مجموعة من التحديات واجهناها بطرق مبتكرة. راح أختار تحديين اثنين بحكم أن الوقت ما راح يكون أو ما راح يسمح لي أن أتكلم عن كل التحديات هذه. أول تحدي كان عندنا بحكم أن التقنيات المالية كانت تظهر بشكل متسارع وأيضا يتم تطبيقها وأيضا تطويرها خارج المنظومة المصرفية، وأيضا الفترة اللازمة لإعداد التعليمات وإعداد التشريعات والقوانين تحتاج إلى بعض الوقت، وبالتالي كان في عندنا نوعا ما حذر في مدى وجود فجوة فيما بين التعليمات وأيضا القوانين اللي تصدر عن الدولة وما بين التطبيقات المالية اللي يتم تطبيقها في القطاع المصرفي. وبالتالي حرصنا عند إعداد التطبيقات المالية الخاصة في الجهات اللي تبي تنزل أي أو تبي تطرح أي منتجات أو خدمات أن ننشئ لها بيئة رقابية تجريبية. حفزنا المشاركين أو المستثمرين وأيضا أعطيناهم مميزات دون الإخلال بمستويات المخاطر أو مستوى الرقابة والإشراف الخاص في بنك الكويت المركزي. وهذه التسهيلات حفزت الشركات أن تشترك ويانا في البيئة الرقابية التجريبية. والبيئة الرقابية التجريبية هذه مكونة من 4 مراحل. أول مرحلة يتم فيها تقديم الطلب، والمرحلة الثانية يتم فيها دراسة الطلب للتحقق من الاستيفاء للمتطلبات الانضمام للبيئة الرقابية التجريبية، والمرحلة الثالثة اللي هي بيئة الاختبار يتم فيها اختبار التقنيات المالية هذه وتحديد أو مراجعة 3 وظائف أساسية فيها. الأول الكفاءة التشغيلية، نتحقق من التطبيقات الإلكترونية ذات كفاءة تشغيلية عالية تعزز من القيمة المضافة للمنتجات المقدمة وأيضا تحافظ على استقرار وسلامة النظام المصرفي والمالي. الجانب الثاني نتأكد من توافق التطبيقات هذه مع متطلبات الرقابية ومع التعليمات، والأخيرا نتأكد من استيفائها لمتطلبات المعلومات بحكم استخدامها للتقنيات المالية. الجانب الآخر التحدي اللي احنا كنا نواجهه بالأول كان عندنا مثل ما ذكرت وحدات مصرفية ومالية واضحة المعالم، كان عددها تقريبا 60 مؤسسة مالية كنا نشرف عليها بوسائل الإشراف والرقابة اللي تم تصميمها. لكن مع ظهور التقنيات المالية أصبح اليوم عندنا في القطاع المصرفي والمالي أكثر من 1500 شركة، وبالتالي ممكن تخيلون وياي لما يصير في عندك 60 شركة عندك اللي هو الجهاز المصرفي والرقابي وأيضا الميزانية وأيضا الموارد الخاصة بالإشراف، خلال فترة قصيرة تواجه 1500 شركة مطلوب أنك أنت تراقبها وتأكد بأنها مستوفية التعليمات الرقابية. وبالتالي طلعنا في طريقة مبتكرة في إصدار التعليمات الخاصة في تنظيم أعمال الدفع الإلكتروني للأموال. التعليمات هذه صار في عندنا أكثر طبعا من خيار. هل إحنا ندخل في الطريقة التقليدية بأن كل الشركات هذه تعتبر خاضعة وإشراف بنك الكويت المركزي بشكل مباشر، وبالتالي مطلوب مني أن أنا أراجع كل الشركات هذه وأتأكد من استيفائها للمتطلبات الرقابية، أو نفكر فيها بطريقة مبتكرة ممكن تساعد وتحقق الهدف بدون لا نخلف الضوابط الرقابية. تعليمات تنظيم أعمال الدفع الإلكتروني للأموال صدرناها في عام 2018، وهي كانت أحد المسؤوليات اللي تم وضعها تحت مسؤولية بنك الكويت المركزي نتيجة صدور القانون رقم 20 سنة 2014 بشأن المعاملات الإلكترونية، واللي وضع مسؤولية تنظيم أعمال الدفع الإلكتروني للأموال داخل دولة الكويت ضمن صلاحيات ومسؤوليات بنك الكويت المركزي. التعليمات تضمنت 7 أقسام. القسم الأول التعريفات وتنظيم النشاط وتنفيذ خدمات النشاط، أيضا حدود التعامل اليومية، وأيضا عرف وسائل الدفع والإشراف والرقابة اللي هي الآليات والأدوات، وأخيرا القيود والجزاءات نتيجة عدم الالتزام بهذه التعليمات. الطريقة المبتكرة اللي احنا بدينا فيها وطبقناها واليوم موجودة على أرض الواقع وأثبتت الحمد لله بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى فعاليتها، أن قسمنا الشركات إلى مجموعتين. المجموعة الأولى من الشركات أطلقنا عليها اسم مزاولين ضمن مدفوعات، وهذه الشركات اللي تتوافر لديها البنية التحتية لأنظمة المدفوعات مثل شبكات والخوادم وأيضا قواعد البيانات، وهذه عادة تصير بنوك أو شركات الاتصالات. وبالتالي المجموعة الثانية اللي أطلقنا عليها وكلاء نظم الدفع هي عبارة عن الشركات التي تستخدم البنية التحتية الموجودة في المجموعة الأولى في تقديم خدماتها الإلكترونية لجمهور العملاء. أيضا مو معناته أن المجموعتين ما هم خاضعين لرقابة وإشراف بنك الكويت المركزي. اللي وضعناه أن المزاول نفسه كمزاول نشاط بحكم أن الوكيل يستخدم البنية التحتية الخاصة فيه، وبالتالي هو مسؤول عن سلامة وأيضا استقرار الأنظمة المصرفية الخاصة فيه نتيجة استخدام عملاء أو وكلاء لهذه التطبيقات. دورنا احنا كبنك الكويت المركزي عقب ما صممنا المنظومة هذه يكون بالإشراف المباشر على المزاول والوكيل، وبالتالي في حالة تعثر أي من المزاول والوكيل تقع المسؤولية على المزاول وعلى الوكيل في حالة وجود أي خلل. مثال توضيحي، اليوم بنك الكويت المركزي صدر التعليمات اللي طبعا مسؤول عن تنفيذ التعليمات بشكل أساسي ويومي ومسؤول عن متابعة تطبيق هذه التعليمات اللي هو البنك المحلي. عندنا الشركة أو المتجر اللي يطلق عليه في التعليمات أنه هو وكيل يستخدم البنية التحتية عند البنك في تقديم خدماته عبر خدمات الدفع للعملاء، وبالتالي مطلوب من البنك المحلي أنه يضع حدود للمخاطر يتم مراقبتها بشكل يومي، وأيضا يقوم بمراجعتها ويتأكد من قيام وكيله باستيفاء التعليمات الرقابية. أيضا وضعنا إجراءات مطلوب من الوكيل بأنه يستوفيها لصالح المزاول، وأيضا مطلوب من المزاول بأنه يتحقق من قيام الوكيل باتخاذ التدابير للحد من أي مخاطر. طبعا احنا بالنسبة لنا كبنك الكويت المركزي بحكم أن عدد الشركات زاد أيضا نحتاج إلى موارد، طريقة الإشراف أو آليات الإشراف والرقابة صممناها بطريقة أيضا مبتكرة. اليوم صار في عندنا ربط مع كل من المزاول والوكيل، وبالتالي صار في عندنا اطلاع مباشر على حجم العمليات الموجودة. ما قاعد نتابع عمل عملية، لكن في عندنا مؤشرات أداء. أقدر أقول أن المؤشرات هذه تبين لي إذا كان في أي خلل، إذا كان في أي ملاحظات، إذا شفنا أن في أي مثلا abnormalities أو مثلا عمليات منفذة بغير منطقية أو بغير واقعية، هذا راح يعتبر مثل ما نقول أنه مؤشر بأن هناك شيء في خطأ داخل هو النظام المصرفي أو نظام مدفوعات. وبالتالي نحتاج أن احنا نبحث الحالات هذه أو أن نطلب اللي هو معلومات، ونسوي أيضا اللي هو التدقيق والتفتيش وأيضا المتابعة للتحقق من عدم وجود أي عمليات تؤثر في سلامة النظام المصرفي. الإجراء الثاني اللي وضعناه من ناحية آليات الإشراف والرقابة، عندنا فرق تفتيش متخصصة. الفرق بالسابق ما كان عندها الخبرة والدراية نتيجة قيام أو تطوير التقنيات المالية خارج النظام المصرفي، وبالتالي من خلال البيئة الرقابية التجريبية لما شجعنا وحفزنا المبادرين أو أصحاب التقنيات المالية الجديدة، أشركنا فرق التفتيش معنا في إجراءات الاختبار، وبالتالي فرق التفتيش أصبحت عندها خبرة أكبر وعندها معرفة وعندها اطلاع في التقنيات المالية قبل تطبيقها في السوق المصرفية. وبالتالي حرصنا، صار في عندنا الإلمام الكامل، صار في عندنا الدراية، بدينا احنا نفهم التقنيات هذه قبل لا تنزل وقبل لا طبعا يطبق في السوق المصرفية. هذا باختصار محتوى التعليمات وأيضا المخاطر والتحديات، وإن شاء الله إذا في أي أسئلة بعدين راح نجاوبكم إن شاء الله عليها، وشكرا.
شكرا للسيد أنور على شرحك الوافي. إن شاء الله راح نرجع إليك بعد العروض التفصيلية الأخرى ببعض الأسئلة إن شاء الله. We now move to Dr. Haji Amiruddin, who will give us also a presentation, Cyber Security Malaysia.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have the slides ready? Okay. I'll be talking about, firstly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizer for inviting me to share our experience in Malaysia. And the topic that I will be sharing is about the importance of securing the financial fintech ecosystem. If you look at the global landscape today, we are very highly connected. As you can see, more and more people are connected worldwide. But now it's no longer about people, but also convergence into new areas, like including in the aspects of financial sector. So also in manufacturing and many other sectors. So basically digital technology now enabling many sectors, including in the financial sector or fintech. So if we look from the angle of cyber threats globally, These are some of the studies with regards to the business risks, with regards to cyber incidents. It's become the top in emerging business risks. And the same thing applies in many statistics stating that the top cyber security facts and figures we can see here in terms of cybersecurity crime, and also a lot of cybersecurity spending, etc. So what we can say, cybersecurity is no longer a technical issue, but it's actually a boardroom issues. And if we look specifically in the context of fintech, which is the one that currently disrupting the traditional financial services, cybersecurity is a growing concern to the financial industry, because this is where the money is. And if you can see the statistics there, the industry that will be most disrupted by cyber attacks is actually in the financial sector. And what are the threats in the financial sector? These are some of the list: spear phishing, ransomware, mobileware, etc. I don't want to go to the details because of the time constraint, but these are some of the experience that has been experienced by worldwide, the Carbonek hacking group, the Bangladesh Bank, and even in Malaysian Central Bank, where they managed to foil the attempted cyber hit. And as a result, there are many organizations, banks around the world putting regulation to safeguard these issues, and that also applies in the context of Malaysia. And what is the implication and the risk? There are many when it comes to cyber attacks. It affects the brand risk, reputational risk, financial risk, regulatory risk, and operational risk. So there are a lot of risks. So this is no longer the issue of technical department or IT department. It's a business risk. So in the context of Malaysia, we also face the same problems. We also been attacked, and these are some of the issues that we face: ATM attack. And as a result, the overall priorities of banks in Malaysia, focusing now, if you can see the issue of cybersecurity is become the top in the list. Because when everything goes digital, so obviously the exposure to cyber attacks are high. And how do we approach this? In Malaysia, we believe that we have to approach cybersecurity or cyber risk beyond technical. It has to be approached holistically from the aspects of people, policy, process, and technology. So it is combination of both cybersecurity and business continuity, so as we are be able to be cyber resilient when we have been attacked. So I'll skip this one. So in Malaysia, we have national cybersecurity policy that covers various sectors, including in the financial sector, and we provide, say, various preventive and or responsive services. And what I'd like to highlight is basically more on the case of Malaysia, where the government has, through Bank Negara, has introduced a regulation. And the one that I'd like to focus is a risk management in technology policy document that is being established, been issued last year, and currently engaging feedbacks and inputs, which I believe by end of this year, it will be launched in Central Bank of Malaysia. What I like to highlight from that RMIT, or the risk management IT, is the aspects of cybersecurity elements in that, which covers the aspects of people, process, and technology. So it is crucial to look this issue covering all these aspects. And if you can see the standards that identify, protect, detect, respond, recover is a standard national, international standard on, they call it NIST, cybersecurity framework, to look into and protect and secure your industry. So going specifically to the context of cybersecurity in Malaysia, we do provide various certification, awareness training program to aspects of people. And these are some, for example, awareness program, cyber safe, meant for a non-practitioner, a user of digital citizen, to give them basic awareness, up to competency training, and we call cyber guru, and even to become a professional certified cybersecurity professional under the Global A scheme. We have the objective to build the right talent in the country in the field of cybersecurity. We work with the various local universities, and we produce many programs, including masters in cybersecurity in many areas of cybersecurity domain. And also awareness program that reach various, not only just the local, not just professionals, but even as young people, students, and even community youth, etc. And we also believe that cybersecurity is not a local issue. We have to work internationally. That's why we have a very strong bilateral and multilateral relationship in which Cybersecurity Malaysia is currently the permanent secretariat to the OIC, Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT. And then in terms of process, we believe the importance of strengthening the process with regards to cybersecurity. That includes the preventive actions via international standard compliant to, for example, ISMS 27001. We have assisted Suriname Central Bank through IDB in terms of building and certified ISMS or Information Security Management System 27001. The other thing, the importance of preventive action through ICT products and system evaluation, because we bought a lot of products from overseas. How do we know it is secured? How do we know it functions when it comes to security function is concerned? And also we address the issue of cryptography. Because it is important that this will be the last defense. Even someone access your data, so they cannot read it, because it is encrypted, and there's a proper algorithm to protect those. And at the same time, we need to test. We call it cyber drill. In Malaysia, at the national level, we have XMAIA, or National Cyber Exercise Crisis. Together, we work with the National Security Council, and that includes in the financial sector. And even we recently, last year, assisted and worked in sectoral level of cyber drill. Simulated exercise to test the procedures and capabilities in terms of when there are cyber attack concerned. And last but not least, the technology side. We know that traditional approach is no longer sufficient. A lot of attacks now is very advanced. It can bypass antivirus, firewall, etc. So they have, as you can see, 88% of malware or malicious software now can morph to avoid detection. So the importance of strengthening detective capabilities. And this is where Cybersecurity Malaysia has developed what we call CyberDef, Detect, Eradicate, Forensic, which won the Best Cybersecurity Innovation Award in Washington in 2015, to be able to detect those malware or malicious software that's already inside, that has bypassed all the antivirus solutions. In addition to that, we also need to clean up all those that are already infected. So we have a coordinated malware eradication and remediation program to reduce the malware or botnet that's already infected the country. In addition to that, we need to strengthen what we call predictive capabilities to identify the pattern, trends, to attack before things happen, rather than being responsive. So we build we build capabilities we call cyber threat intelligence, CTI lab, to avoid detection of fraud, for example, and malware visualization. And we work together with the universities in Malaysia and others like vulnerability assessment and penetration testing services. In addition to that, also on to protect organizations to data sanitization, because a lot of computers, when we finish after 2-3 years, we change. But we forgot, even after we have format those computers, actually, there are still data that can be recovered. And this is where the data exposure, data compromise, data breach can happen. Because we thought when we format the computers, and all the banks, we all use laptops, computers. After 2-3 years, we change to a new one. So it needs to sanitize, and we have this initiative to provide data sanitization, to ensure the data is protected. So we provide various services across cybersecurity domain and life cycle, from predict up to the review. And some of the achievements that we are happy to share, for example, the ITU Global Cybersecurity Index, International Telecommunication Union, looking to 5 indicators: legal, technical, organizational capacity building, and cooperation. We were ranked 3rd globally, just behind Singapore and the United States. And we work also closely with other countries like Oman, for example, and other countries. And we stress in the aspects of capacity building, which we got a perfect score. As I mentioned just now, it covers the general non-practitioner up to the management level. We have training not just for technical people, but even also for board level. And a lot of various international relationship and awards and recognitions. But in conclusion, I would like to say, when we talk about cybersecurity, and especially when we involve in the financial sector, we need to adopt a holistic strategy. We need to ensure that there is a public-private partnership. There is a strong partnership, not just at the local level, but also at the international level. And we need to also evolve in parallel with technology, because those cyber attackers, cyber criminals, they also leveraging on new technologies to do the attacks. So as such, in the context of financial sector, where it is most lucrative, where money is, as I mentioned and I shared just now, this is where the importance of leveraging the holistic strategy and adopt the best practices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very informative presentation. We now move to our final presenter, Sayyid Nizam Ismail. Please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. Thank you to the organizers for kindly inviting me to be part of this very significant conference. I've been asked to talk about the way regulators look at regulatory development in light of fintech going forward. Can I have the slides up, please? Okay, this is interesting. Maybe I'll just say a few opening remarks about the advent of fintech. Reality number one is that financial services remain the most heavily regulated industry in the world, in most jurisdictions, without exception. And then comes along the promise of fintech, which promises a few things. It promises the delivery of financial services in a more efficient manner. It promises more customer centricity. It promises to disrupt financial services. It promises to address issues such as financial inclusion, which is a real issue in the region that I live in Southeast Asia, where only 27% of people have got access to bank accounts. And when you juxtapose, heavily regulated industry against the incoming of disruptive forces, you will find that regulators are constantly thinking and worrying about how they deal with this advent of fintech, because in as much as a small fintech player presents smaller risk compared to an incumbent bank from a systemic risk perspective, there are additional risks that it brings in, whether it's cybersecurity risks, as my colleague from Malaysia has raised, or the issue of risks of access to data privacy, as His Excellency Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim has mentioned earlier on. And so how do you therefore deal with this conundrum? So I will just briefly touch upon four broad areas in the course of my short presentation. First, to explain the philosophy of the regulators in Singapore when it comes to dealing with fintech. Two, how the Monetary Authority of Singapore manages the twin forces of regulation and fostering innovation. Three, some highlight of certain regulatory developments in the fintech space. And four, the regulatory sandbox. Now, this is the MAS temple, which sets out the thinking or the regulatory philosophy of the regulator. I think it's not dissimilar to what other regulators do. So at the top of the temple, the roof, it talks about promoting a sound and progressive financial services sector. However, as you go along to what the MAS does, some of the principles are quite significant. And two stated principles are that, one, regulations have to be risk-focused, and that's quite important when you look at the advent of fintech. And two, you have to be business-friendly. So I think, sorry about the formatting. Business-friendly is a stated objective of regulations, that regulations must facilitate business. So that's one. Two, along the way, the MAS issued further guidance in the form of tenets of effective financial regulation. And it highlights certain objectives like being one being outcome focused, two being risk appropriate, and three responsive to changes and cycles. Well, I was formerly from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and I used to head a policy division that wrote rules for the capital markets. And I can tell you, it is very nervous for a regulator to try and anticipate what future technological advancement can bring to your market. And so in the context of fintech, Singapore has got an annual fintech festival. Last year, 40,000 people from all over the world came, and we were very happy to host everyone. And this is Ravi Menon, the managing director of MAS, and he was talking about how regulators confront regulation and innovation. And he said this, that it is not possible for regulation to front-run innovation. You cannot foresee any technological advancements. It doesn't work that way. You must wait necessarily for innovation to happen and then decide what you want to do. He says that regulation must run alongside innovation, but I think the reality is there's always a lag between innovation and regulation. And he mentions a few things. He mentions that as the regulators look at a new fintech offering, right? And in the past few years, we have seen offerings such as peer-to-peer lending, equities crowdfunding, robo-advisory, We have seen blockchain coming in a very big way. There's so many applications of blockchain, including in Wakaf. I think we have a friend in the audience who does that. We have seen cryptocurrencies coming along, initial coin offers, securities tokens, and now people are talking about things like stable coins and fiat-based cryptocurrencies. So these are all wonderfully new things that can bring a lot of value to humanity and the community. But when you are confronted with a new fintech development, I think the instinct is for you to say no. But I think what was heartening was that the position taken by Singapore is that the regulator will look at the materiality of the impact of the new development, whether it brings across material risks to my financial sector, and to identify that risk. And also in crafting a response, you have to take a very proportionate approach, because you cannot kill and end with a sledgehammer. It's not going to work that way. So he did end off his presentation by saying that with fintech, he wants to let a lot of flowers bloom, let 1,000 flowers bloom. But the caveat is that it has to be a beautiful garden at the end of it. And I think that sums up the tension that regulators have to think about. This is Tharman Shanmugaratnam. He is the Deputy Prime Minister of Singapore. He is also Chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. I'm highlighting this slide because I think it illustrates how regulators deal with the tensions. And this is his response when it comes to regulating cryptocurrencies. Now, this was in Parliament. A member of Parliament asked whether Singapore should ban cryptocurrencies because China and South Korea has banned it. And there are consumer protection issues. So what are you going to do about it? So his response was very nuanced. He starts off by saying that cryptos are an experiment, that the risks are too early to identify. The long-term implications are still not known yet. And then he goes on to say that as now, there's no reason to ban cryptos because there's no materiality. It hasn't really impacted the rest of the financial services sector as much as conventional fiat currency has. And then he goes on to say that he warns investors you could lose your shirt if you invest in cryptos because they are high risk. But the last paragraph is very enlightening because he acknowledges the value that cryptocurrencies can bring. They can be socially or economically very useful to Singapore. And so it's a very carefully nuanced approach, right? So, and along the way, the Singapore regulator also issued further guidance on initial coin offerings. Now, unfortunately, this is an area that might have been tainted by a few bad apples. However, if you think about this, in an ICO, and I'm simplifying, what you're really doing is pre-selling your services. So if I run a coffee shop, I could issue a coffee card, or I could issue in the form of a token. And the value of the token is that I can sell it to someone else, and that someone else can go to an exchange and liquidate it. So there's liquidity if he wants to sell it off. So the position that the MES took was, they gave guidance, this was in August 2017, that the key test is whether the tokens are securities. If they are securities, they are of course regulated under the current Securities and Futures Act. But if they're not securities, they are largely unregulated. But there are still expectations for issuers to get a legal opinion that the tokens are not securities and to look at AML and CFT risk, which is a risk when you sell anything on the internet. So it's a very carefully nuanced approach as well. Along the way, there are a few other regulatory developments. When it comes to crypto exchanges or crypto OTC trading, this will be regulated under new payments legislation. In Singapore, they have taken an approach to facilitate securities token offerings. So what are these? Again, in the old school world, you issue a security, it can be in the form of a paper security, or it can be digitized, as most exchanges do. But now we have seen the advent of securities on the blockchain. This could be equity, this could be debt, this could be revenue sharing arrangement. Again, the blockchain is a technology of trust. So I can sell my securities on the blockchain, and a private investor, whereas in the past he is stuck with the private equity, now he can go to a recognized market operator or securities exchange and liquidate his investment. So it's great. It helps enterprises raise funds. It helps investors to invest and be assured of liquidity. So this is an interesting new development. And again, the regulatory framework for this is now being thought through and has been put in place in Singapore. So I'll move on. I think these are some of the drivers for crypto regulations. I think whether or not regulations, the shape and form will depend on issues such as the responsibility of issuers, whether proper disclosures are made in the white paper, things like conflicts of interest are being addressed. the level of complaints, incidents of frauds or scams, market abuse in crypto exchanges, which unfortunately still happens, but it also happens in conventional financial services, regulators understanding the mechanics of ICOs and self-regulatory mechanisms. In this regard, we are involved in two initiatives. One is the Global ICO Transparency Alliance that seeks to promote transparency for ICOs. We also started a crypto exchange association called Digital Exchange, DX, which seeks to promote best practices for exchanges worldwide. Okay, so just a couple of snippets of regulatory sound bites. This is the Chief FinTech Officer of the MES. He said this as a G20 meeting. He said, and this is quite interesting coming from a regulator, that he wants to quash this false narrative that's been going around for the past 2 years, that you can separate the blockchain from crypto. You can't. Of course, from a technology point of view, the blockchain is separate from the cryptocurrency. The underlying technology behind Bitcoin is the blockchain, and that's separate from the coin. But what he's saying is that the use of the coin or the token is very much intertwined from a business point of view, that you can't really divorce the two. Okay, that's one. Two, he also said that he thinks it's likely that the key regulators in the world might seek to plug the gap when it comes to cryptocurrency regulations or ICO, so this might happen. Just on the last part on sandbox, I think this is a debate that's been taking place in Qatar as well. I note some articles from the net that the regulatory sandbox is an area that you would like to look into in Qatar. It's actually, this is Ravi Menon again at the FinTech Festival. He said that when he introduced the sandbox 2 years ago, this was a compromise between enabling experiments, encouraging innovation on the one hand, and to preserve safety and soundness on the other. So I think a lot of jurisdictions have adopted this sandbox. The idea is you can experiment in the sandbox if you're a startup or even a conventional financial services institution. The idea is that we will limit the transaction size, transaction volume during the sandbox period. You test, you do your experiment. If something blows up, because it's a controlled environment, it doesn't blow up publicly. So that's the benefit. We will provide exemptions to you such that you don't have to say fully capitalize the company during the sandbox period, and some other exemptions as well. And the underlying concept is that the regulator is now taking risks. I'm allowing you to conduct a regulated activity even before you are licensed during the sandbox period. So there are some other considerations like, and this is the ongoing debate in Singapore as well. First, proactivity, that the regulators shouldn't just be regulating but giving advice. And the other question is whether you want to open the sandbox throughout the year, which is the case in Singapore, or seasonal. Like some jurisdictions, you only open it certain parts of the year. Class exemptions during the sandbox process. But what happens after the sandbox? Can the regulators still continue to give exemptions? Because if I'm still a new startup, I might be in the sandbox for 6 months. After that 6 months period, I think it makes sense to continue to exempt me from some of the requirements. Interestingly, the MES in November last year issued a further consultation paper proposing a sandbox express, meaning that for certain categories of activities like remittance, 1, 2 for recognized market operators, which are securities token exchanges, or 3 for certain insurance platforms, what the MES will do is that they will put them to a fast track, meaning that if you submit an application today, within 21 days, you can start doing your activity in the sandbox. And that's really great for the industry. So it's interesting times for regulators worldwide. And because of time constraints, I will end my presentation here. So thank you very much.